Welcome to It's Your Turn. I'm Brenda Florida, certified life coach, and no matter how exhausted, stressed, anxious, or overwhelmed you are, there is hope. You can start exactly where you are. There's nothing wrong with you. In fact, you're ready for it to be your turn, or you wouldn't be here. You know, we hear words like vitality and confidence and empowerment and transformation, but what do they really mean? What do they look like in the practical aspects of our life? In the It's Your Turn podcast, we explore, learn, and put into practice practical tools and wise concepts for transformation. This is real life change, not platitudes. It's the intersection of the practical and the aspirational. It's your turn to make decisions that are aligned with exactly what you want. And if you've lost connection to what you want, that's okay. We'll reconnect it. You'll learn how to shift out of self-sabotaging patterns and tap in to the clarity, confidence, and vitality that you may feel like has been lost forever. It's your turn to step into the driver's seat of your life and embrace the power that is within you. So let's get to it. Today is the day. This is the first episode of It's Your Turn. I rebranded my podcast. It was originally Liberate Your People Pleaser, then Uncover and Elevate, and now it has evolved into It's Your Turn. Now, why? Why would I keep changing the name of my podcast? Because over time, my work evolves. It's very impacted by my clients and what is up for them and how I use my tools to help them facilitate, is another way I like to say it, to facilitate their growth and transformation. And over the years I've been coaching, I think the number one most popular statement that clients make to me at the beginning of their coaching is, I am ready for it to be my turn. Can you relate? So today I am claiming that it is your turn. You get to take care of yourself, prioritize yourself, step out of habits that don't serve you, step out of commitments you've made even that don't serve you anymore. Now, I know all that is easier said than done, but let's start today in this debut episode of the podcast with defining a few, or just laying out for you a few of my guiding principles. This is how I work with everybody. It's how I talk about things. It's very foundational to my work as a life coach and in my own life. You know, everything I do with clients, I do with myself. So these are tried and tested tools and ideas that you're going to get here on the podcast. So here's a few of these guiding principles. Number one, where you are in your life right now is exactly the place to start. You are in the right place at the right time, being exactly who you are. Number two, there's nothing wrong with you and you do not need fixing. Number three, we all have what we need inside of us. We just need the proper conditions to thrive and to grow. So it's like an oak tree is to the acorn. Okay. The acorn seed has everything needed to grow that enormous oak tree, but it needs the right conditions in order for that to occur, right? So healthy soil, water, sunshine, you know, all those kinds of things, so that all that potential, all that possibility within the acorn can reach its fullness of becoming an oak tree. So the oak tree is our thriving. All right. So number four is that we all have symptoms in our lives and then the causes of those symptoms. So what do I mean by that? The symptoms are what appear to be the problem. Like, this is what a symptom is, what typically brings people into one-on-one coaching with me. A symptom may be what even caused you to listen to this podcast today. So you've got some problem or issue or challenge, whatever word you want to put on it, in your life that's messing with you. It's stressing you out, or you're exhausted, or you're overwhelmed by it. Maybe it's multiple things. And so it seems like that's the problem. So it can look like relationship problems, like in your marriage or a romantic relationship, partnership. It can be problems in your career or problems in your business. It might be financial trouble. It might be the sort of things that we would consider in other relationships, like problems with your adult parents, or being an empty nester for the first time, or any of those kinds of things. Okay. That's what people will come. That's why they'll make an appointment, right? And start working with me, because they've got that problem. And in truth, that problem, while it needs attention, okay, unless we get to the root cause of it, why is it that I'm in this predicament in my relationship? Why is it that I'm repeating this pattern with the people I date? Why is it that I've got this problem again at work? It seems like I always get in these same environments at work, and I change jobs, and then I think it's going to be better, but over time it's the same again. Or I'm cycling back through this dynamic in my business that I can't seem to get out of, and it's so stressful. Or, I can't set boundaries with my parents, or any of those things. They need to be addressed, absolutely. But if we don't understand how you got there and work to unravel and release those things, or transform them, transmute them, whatever words for growth that you like, if we don't pull the weeds around our acorn seed, it could get choked out. And so what happens is that we just wind up having the same problem again. And we've all experienced this, because we all do this. All right. Everybody, I do it. I've done it, So it is where we keep dating the wrong kind of guy, or picking the wrong kind of girl, or where, again, we have that same problem in a different workplace, or we move to a different city and we think things are going to be better. But over time, we realize that we are repeating the same pattern. So all those things are the symptoms. Until we figure out the cause of that and can heal it and transform it at that level, you will keep repeating those symptoms. And that's why coaching, one-on-one coaching, is so important. And so number 5 is that I am unapologetic that when a person is ready for change, hiring me as their coach is an incredibly effective way to navigate that change, because we all have blind spots. None of us I don't even feel like we were intended to figure out how to create all these conditions for our little oak or acorn to turn into an oak tree without some help, without some facilitators, without some healers, without some, additional information we may need, or tools, or whatever it is. We weren't meant to do this journey of life alone. And I know that there's still a stigma around, getting a therapist or a coach, or that you need help with a personal issue, like, oh, I'm having troubles because, I need to set this boundary with my mom. She just expects me to do so much, and I can't figure out how to do it because I don't want to make her mad. And why should I have to pay a professional to help me with that? If so many people have that problem, I should be able to figure it out. I should be able to read a book and figure it out. Well, that's just not the way it is. And part of it goes back to number 4, the whole issue of symptoms versus root causes. And all of us have root causes that are a little bit unique. I mean, we all share a lot of similar dynamics, but kind of the story of how we got there and the nuances of how it impacts us are all a little different combinations. Just like we all have similar bodies, head, bodies, arms, hands, fingers, toes, but all of us do that just a little bit differently, just a little bit uniquely. And that's the way personal growth is as well. So I'm so glad you're here on the podcast. I love putting out helpful, information and tools and all those kinds of things. And they are no substitute for one-on-one coaching. So I just want to start to normalize that in the same way that if you wanted to accomplish some real growth in your health or fitness, you would hire a personal trainer at the gym or a nutrition coach or something like that to help you, because we all have blind spots. They're blind spots because we can't see them, but someone else can. Someone else is going to have a different perspective. Somebody else is going to have different tools than we have. Somebody else can help me learn how to apply that tool in a way that is really effective for me, because that's the other thing. And the same is true with our bodies. Like if you have a really good personal trainer, they're not doing the exact same set of exercises with every client, right? Like it depends on what the client's body needs, what they're, maybe if they have a goal because they're, working towards running a race or, doing some thing that they want to get their body specifically ready for, or even if they're just going for overall strength and vitality. We're all starting from a different place. Our bodies have different strengths and weaknesses kind of already built in. All those things that a good personal trainer in a fitness arena is going to be tweaking and changing, creating those little nuances for every particular client they have. The same is true with our emotional and spiritual health, in that what you need could have just a little bit of a different angle or nuance or way to apply it that could be unique to you, because we are all unique. And so the last thing that is a guiding principle of my work is that we have got to stay out of and despair. So I say compare and despair, because once we start comparing, we usually start despairing. And so your uniqueness means your growth journey is unique, and how you're living your life is unique compared to somebody else. And so you cannot compare where you're at with where somebody else is at. I don't care if we're talking about career or, parenting or marriages and romantic partnerships or friendships, lifestyles. There's just no comparing. It's a pointless, because we're all unique and we're all complicated, multifaceted beings. So with all that in mind, let's begin the journey. It is time for you to claim that it is your turn. And so I wonder right now, as you hear me say that, do you already know, has something, maybe 10 things already popped in your head that you're like, ooh, I'm claiming it's my turn to fill in the blank, get a good night's sleep, not cook dinner tonight. It could be something bigger, like it's my turn to go for the career or the changes in my business that I'm really craving and wanting. Or maybe it's more like it's my turn to ask for that raise, or to ask for the promotion, or to raise my prices if I'm a service-oriented entrepreneur, whatever it is. It can be from the super small to the super large. It doesn't matter. I just want you right now to think of one thing that you want to claim it is your turn for. And I would love it if you would DM me on Instagram. So I'm Brenda Florida Coach, if you don't already follow me, and this link is in the show notes, but it's also pretty easy to remember. Brenda Florida Coach, because if you're new to my work, I'll say Florida is my last name. It is not where I live. It's not a gimmick. It's not, whatever. I love sunshine. I love the beach, but I live in Southern California and my name is just Florida. Okay. So on Instagram, I'm at Brenda Florida Coach. You can email me by emailing Brenda at brendaflorida.com. Super easy because my website is brendaflorida.com. So Brenda at brendaflorida.com. I would love for you to DM me and declare to me, claim to me, even if you're afraid to claim it in any other way, right? You may feel like, if I claim this, I'm not cooking dinner again till the end of the year. You know, if you're listening to this in real time, it's mid-December and the busiest days of the year for most of us are upon us, you know, so maybe you're just going to say, hey, I'm not cooking dinner the rest of the year. Somebody else in the family can cook, or we're going to go out or whatever. I don't care what it is, big or small. Even if you're afraid to say it out loud to anybody else, take the step of sharing it with me. There's so much power even in that. There's so much power in knowing someone else that is trustworthy from the standpoint of, you're not, I don't care what it is, you're not going to get any judgment from me, any ridicule, any, well, that's not possible, any, you know, anything like that, that sometimes well-meaning people in our environment might say. And so sometimes I don't tell people what I'm claiming or what I'm taking my turn on, because it's like a little, you know, baby that I'm protecting for now, and I don't want anybody slapping it, you know. So if you feel too, I'm going to use the word fragile, but I don't mean that in any sort of bad way, right? There's no bad. If it just feels too tender, let's use that word, to put it out in the open to anybody else, then that's fine. Keep it in your heart and share it with me, and I will hold that with you, because there is so much power in someone else holding what you claim. And so I want to know what that is. And then I'm going to give you one step here today, one modality, methodology, whatever you want to call it, for what to do about it. In addition to sending it to me, because that's really one thing in and of itself, very powerful thing, to tell me what you're claiming as your turn. And then second, I want you to, and you can tell me this too, or jot it down for yourself, put it in your phone, write it in a journal, whatever it works for you, how you believe you will feel when you actually claim that. Okay. So if you actually didn't cook dinner between now and the end of the year, or Christmas, whatever I said, Hanukkah's kind of early this year. So by the time this comes out, we'll be a little past that. So let's say the end of the year. Okay. Even if you want to claim you're not going to cook till the end of the year, then I want you to tell me how that would make you feel to do it. Does it make you feel free? Does it make you feel happy? Does it make you feel powerful? Does it make you feel relieved? Does it make you feel more relaxed? You know, whatever it is, and it could be multiple things, right? Most things make us feel more than one thing. So, but I want you to really tune in to how it's going to feel, not how you're going to make it happen, not how you're going to say it, not how you're going to ask for what you want. You know, we don't have to get there yet, but how it's going to feel when you've done it. Because understanding how we're going to feel is incredibly powerful in the process. And in the next episode, I'll break down a couple more steps. Like, what are we going to do with those feelings? You know, why did I just bother to have you figure out what they are and to name those feelings? And another tool that will take you towards claiming and communicating what you want to take your turnaround. Okay. So with that, I'm going to wrap up this debut episode. Come back next week for the next episode, because we'll keep working towards having a sort of like a framework and a breakdown of how we take our turn, even in the midst of challenge. Because if it was easy, everyone would do it, right? People are collectively exhausted and overwhelmed. because they're doing too many things. They're taking on too many obligations. They're doing too much for others. They're over giving. They're over efforting. They're over functioning for somebody else. And so taking your turn is an incredibly powerful thing, but it usually has ripple effects that affects other people. When I say no to, the person I'm over functioning for, whether that's at home or at work or whatever, it starts feeling complicated. And that's where we start to talk ourselves out of it and just keep over giving, over functioning. So part of taking your turn is breaking that habit. And so we'll get into more of that in our next episode of It's Your Turn. So thank you for being here with me, and I'll see you in episode 2. Thank you for joining me for this episode of It's Your Turn. I've got resources and links in the show notes for you. But here's what's more fun. DM me on Instagram at Brenda Florida Coach and let me know you listened to today's episode. I'd love to connect with you. And then share this episode with somebody who needs to hear it, because I know you know somebody who needs to hear it. And I'll see you in the next episode of It's Your Turn.